What's going on, everyone? Welcome into Around the Felt. Woo! Does that ringtone sound good, man? It's been a long time. The boys are back, and we're here with some future bets for you for the 2025 NFL season. I'm Colin. You know Reagan. We got Big G in the house. What's going on, boys?
What's up, Colin?
Oh, I'm pumped, boys. I am pumped. 15 futures you need to take. We're each given 5. I mean, come on now. Obviously, you know we're some of the best minds out there when it comes to that kind of stuff. But I mean, hey, why not? The football season's almost 2 months away, so let's talk some shop.
Yeah, now that it's July, we do have a football game being played in July. We're trying to scratch that itch a little bit, get some future plays. We're going to work our way up the ladder, start with the lowest odds, around even money, and then work our way up to some long shot futures. Big G, how about we start with you, my friend?
All right, we can start with me. Speaking of that game in July, we got the Hall of Fame game, which brings me into my first future bet of the season, which involves a Lions player who will be playing in the Hall of Fame game. So I'm actually starting at plus 250 on these odds.
That's
whoa.
Wow.
Got a little comeback player of the year action for you boys. Plus 250, I have Aidan Hutchinson win comeback player of the year.
Wow.
So Hutch is a guy who only played 5 games last year, was basically on pace to destroy some Lions team records, his own personal records. He had 7.5 sacks in 5 games. He had 4.5 in 1 game alone, almost broke a record that game. And he's a guy who's had a lot of time already to recover since he got so hurt so early in the year last year. He said in his meetings with the team and the media already this season that he's fully recovered. This is the most excited he's been going into an OTA. I think he's a player that he's not going to necessarily pick up where he left off, but if he's even like 75% to start the year of what he was, I think he'll build his way back into shape. And I like his odds this year. I think he's the second or third favorite to win it, but at plus 250, you're still getting value with him there.
That's a great pick because he was on track to win the DPOY before he got hurt. Like, he was the front runner in odds. So I like that play a lot.
Yeah. I don't like it, but I'll tell you why later because I got a different guy, but I'll save it for later.
You also have a comeback player of the year.
Yeah, I do, but it ain't him, and I ain't spoiling it,
All right, Reagan. So what's your first play?
So my first play is Bo Nix, the Denver Broncos starting quarterback, to have 3,500 or more passing yards on the season. That you get at minus 115. And guess what? He did that feat last year, and he did that with no problem. He did it. He had 3,775 passing yards last year. Bo Nix really balled out. I mean, that wasn't 17 games, but I expect him to get better. They obviously went out and got Evan Ingram as well. And it is a young receiving core, but it's just another year under Sean Payton. And we saw, Drew Brees, whose head coach and play caller was Sean Payton throughout the best seasons he had in New Orleans, where he was putting up 5,000-yard passing seasons. So why not Bo Nix? And it's only 3,500. Seems like a low line, especially if he did it last year. You're kind of you're playing against him getting injured. Basically, if he stays healthy and plays 17, he'll hit it no problem.
Yeah, that's the big thing, too, with a lot of these futures is like an injury and you're kind of chalked when you go to like the yardage, because I have a lot of yardage plays, too. And I'm like, those long shots aren't going to hit if they miss time. So, but I like that play a lot, Reagan. But my first one. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, I even think he could do that in like 14 or 15 games. Like, even if he misses a game or two, like, I still like it a lot because I think passing yards per game is going to go up significantly.
I agree. And like you're thinking like Troy Franklin, another year under his belt, so that their young core, Marvin Mims, like they should continue to grow. He still has Cortland Sutton, who was his favorite target last year. I like to play a lot.
Yeah. And and he only had 2 games over 300, but the majority of his like 250 plus and 300 yard plus passing games came in the second half of the season. So he developed as the season went on, where like early on he was in his first, he was like below 240 in his first 6 out of 7 games. And then after that, he was just smashing it. So, it just kind of shows you the development that happened in the second half of the season for him.
That's also considering he was going against Kansas City and the Chargers twice a year, who were both top passing defenses in the league. So, he's done it against the tough competition. All right, my first one, staying in the AFC West. the Los Angeles Chargers over 9.5 wins at -110. When you consider that they went 11-6 last year in Harbaugh's first season, and all Jim Harbaugh does is win games. Like this guy, everywhere he's been, he turned around, and I know, Reagan, we talked about this last year before the season, how he turned around the Niners like that. And we were like, could he do the same thing with the Chargers? And he did it, winning 11 games. You add Amarian Hampton, the running back, in the first round. You add Trey Harris, who's a beast out of Ole Miss at receiver, to pair with Ladd, who will have another year under his belt with Herbert. And then you sign Mekhi Becton to add on to an already elite offensive line. The defense was elite last year. I anticipate that carrying over into 2025. And I think in the past 8 years, this is the most, I don't want to use the word confident, but that a team could unseat the Chiefs and win the division. And I think it's the Chargers that can do it.
Really? I lean heavily more in the favor of the Broncos just because
I figured with your Bo Nix pick.
And the defense just is out of this world good. They were insane
and they added
last
Jadae
year, and
Barron.
they added so
I
many.
get it. Yeah.
But still, that's not the point here. I mean, I'm looking at the Chargers schedule. I mean, it's pretty cupcake-ish. I mean, especially early on. I mean, you get Kansas City, which is going to be tough, but neutral site, you never know what happens. But then you get the Raiders, the Giants in there. The Dolphins aren't going to be what they were. The Colts, Titans, Steelers, Jaguars, Raiders.
I hear a lot of wins there.
Yeah, I mean, I like that a lot. I mean, because last year, what they would go 10-7 last year, and I feel like their schedule was harder. So you would think that they'll continue to improve. Yeah,
they went 11-6.
11-6. Even
Yeah.
So
I
I
like
would
9.5
imagine
a lot.
Harbaugh's not regressing, and if he does, it's probably 10 at the very least.
Yeah, I feel confident the Chargers are a playoff team this year.
Yeah, that was also something I was looking at for them to win the division. I do think that draft class isn't getting enough praise as it should. I mean, especially with Harbaugh being as good of a coach as he is, these are guys that he's probably recruited in his past because he just came back like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So
And he's got a love affair for Herbert too. Like they're boys, and now like just another year of that growth. Like I see Herbert being much better than he even was last year. Last year's touchdown interception ratio was just disgusting, but I expect the passing yardage to tick up for Herbert as well.
Yeah, Harbaugh said his goal is to get Herbert to the Hall of Fame. So he'll do whatever he can. He said on the Rich Eisen show that he woke up one night in the middle of his sleep and said, I got to do everything I can to get Herbert in the Hall of Fame.
That's great. All right, G, what's your second play here?
My second play is coming in at, I think it's, let me double check the odds really quick. It's plus 230. I have Drake London to score 10+ touchdowns this season.
Love it.
This is a guy that we saw break out last year, but the reason I lean towards this bet more this year is because he's going to be playing with Michael Penix for a full season. Probably, we don't know for sure, but probably the best quarterback he's going to have yet in his young career. He's a guy who had 9 touchdowns last year playing with like whatever Kirk Cousins was. Like Kirk Cousins he threw more picks than he did touchdowns last year. And we saw when Penix came in, he hyper-targeted London a lot. In the last like 3 games of the season, I think London had like 3 touchdowns alone. So Penix was hyper-targeting him, especially in the end zone. He's a 6'5" receiver with a big frame who's gonna, if they're not gonna run the ball with Bijan, they're gonna be looking to get London those goal line fades. Especially at him getting 9 last year, I think he can get 11 or 12 this year, and getting 10 at plus 230. I think you can get some good value there.
It's a good target. I thought about
9
London
last
as well.
year. Yeah, 9 last year, and then 2 in the last game. Damn, he cooked in that last game. 10 catches, 187 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But what did Penix start? Penix started the Giants.
Penix
he came in
struggled.
halfway through.
Penix
or he
struggled
started
his
against
first
the
2
Giants.
games.
Yeah, when he really started to come in his own, that's when him and London's connection was fire.
Yeah, he struggled the next
still,
day, but
8 targets, 13 targets, 18 targets in the 3 games with Penix. I mean, to average over 10 targets a game is pretty freaking good. So I like the play a lot. So my second pick, and this one was kind of surprising to me based off the line, but I'm going to take Mike Evans' 1,000 receiving yards this season. It's plus 115.
Whoa!
He's done it every single year, and you're going to give us plus odds. I mean, why bet against the guy? I mean, you saw even last year, like, he didn't need the full amount of games, and even in the last game, like, they're going to do whatever they can to get him to get that record. Like, they didn't need to do that, because, dude, he did it in 14 games, and he's done it in 13 games. So you're basically saying, hey, as long as he plays 14 games, he'll get it. So that gives you a little bit of wiggle room there. And even 13, I mean, he's done it. So it's hard to bet against him. I mean, he's been very close to missing it a couple times. I mean, he has 3 times where he had 1,001, then he had 1,006 and 1,004. So there's been a couple times where he didn't get it, but why bet against history? And if you're going to give me plus odds for a guy that's done it 11 years in a row, seems like a no-brainer.
Sounds like a really safe way for people to double their 401ks, Reagan. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, after watching last year, I have no doubt.
All right, my second play, gentlemen. I'm sticking in Los Angeles, but I'm going with the Rams.
Okay.
To reach the NFC Championship game at plus 500. Obviously, they fell last year to Philadelphia in the divisional round. They gave Philly the biggest run for their money of any team they faced in the postseason. You add Devontae Adams, who was replacing the corpse of Cooper Kupp. You still have McVay. You still have Stafford. And one thing that I'm really looking out for, they were in the Jalen Ramsey sweepstakes. It came down to them and Pittsburgh. That makes me think they're going to make a splash at the deadline. Like the year that they won the Super Bowl and they brought in Ramsey, like I think they're going to make a similar type of move at the deadline and gear up with obviously Stafford almost leaving in this offseason. They're going to go all in. So I like the Rams. When you have McVay and Stafford in the postseason, they could beat anybody. I think they can make a run to the NFC Championship game. I think Detroit's going to regress a little bit. Philly is still going to be really damn good, but there might be a bit of a Super Bowl hangover. Give me the Rams at plus 500 to just reach the NFC Championship game, not win it.
Yeah, I don't like it, but hey, whatever.
I like that play. I think they
I don't.
Go. You go.
Oh, all right. No, I don't love it.
Okay.
Oh, go.
I just think they did give Philly a really good run for their money, and now you're adding Devontae Adams. You didn't really lose anyone. Your defense is only gonna. They were considered a young defense last year, and now they get another year together. I think McVay is one of the best coaches in the league. I just don't see how they don't put up like a good fight and maybe make a run.
I just don't like the value of it, to be honest. Like, if it was like plus 1,000 or plus 1,500, I'd be more into it. But I just feel like plus 500 to get there. I don't know. I still fancy San Francisco, even with the rough year over them and all the losses. I just can't doubt them with how consistent they've been the past 5 years outside of last year. And Detroit, you would think, is going to be coming back with vengeance after last year. You'd have to imagine Washington's only going to get better. And Philly, man, Philly's Philly.
Yeah, that's the problem. So, if they get Philly,
not to mention some of the other teams that have gotten better. Like you would think Chicago is going to be slightly better. Green Bay will hopefully be better. Not that the Rams aren't going to get better. I just think for the value, there's a lot of tough teams out there. But hey, man, I see the vision. The defense is sick.
Valid. All right, G. Third play.
All right, I got an interesting one for you guys. I got a team. The prop is fewest regular season wins. I got plus 425, the New Orleans Saints.
I thought you were going to say the New York Giants. I was waiting for it, dude.
No. Jets and Giants had around the same odds as them, but I'm going with the Saints. I mean, I just don't love the roster they're putting out there this year.
It's disgusting.
I do like the head coach. I like Kellen Moore. I mean, Derek Carr retired this season, so no matter what, if Tyler Show is good,
Shuck Tua.
I would shuck Tua on him. I just think it's a downgrade at quarterback.
Man.
Either one you put out there, they're both basically rookies. Ratman didn't get enough experience last year. I mean, they're a team that's been over the cap every year, so they can't progressively add to this roster. I don't think they fare very well in their own division. And they're a team that's already getting mocked to have the number one pick. You could potentially see a little bit of tank action for Arch towards the end of the year. I don't love the roster they're putting out this year. I do like the value of plus 425. I mean, it's not great, but you're picking between all the bottom feeders for those odds.
Yeah, and let's be honest, they have the worst quarterback room in the league, probably.
Yeah, I mean, on paper they should come in last, but I will say I feel like history of that bet. Usually the team that's projected to be dead last ends up being bottom
the
three.
Browns that have worse odds.
Oh, they're not the worst?
No, the Browns were the worst.
Really? That shocks me just because they have enough
That's what I was
quarterbacks
thinking.
and
Well, their
like, their
quarterback
defense is
situation is
still-
also a shit show. But like,
But,
you know,
like,
they have a
it's still
superstar,
better.
Myles Garrett, though.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, they were good 2 years ago. They were a playoff team. Like, yeah, and like I don't know. Stefanski's like still a phenomenal coach. So I'm surprised the Saints have worse odds than the Browns.
Yeah, at least at the time last week when I was picking all my odds, it should still be similar, but that's what I got.
Yeah, so I'll stay in the NFC South with you here. I'm going to take the Carolina Panthers to make the playoffs. Not to win the division. I think they're going to make it. And it's plus 230, so Vegas is giving them a little respect. You would think that would be a juicier line, but plus 230. You know, I really believe in what Dave Canales is doing over there. I mean, we saw what he did with Geno Smith. You know, turned him around and brought that team. And I shouldn't say brought that team because he was offensive coordinator, but his first year with Geno Smith, Seattle makes the playoffs. Then he goes to Tampa Bay. First year with Baker Mayfield, they make the playoffs. Both guys have huge years. Now, last year, obviously, they don't make the playoffs, but in the second half, you saw a huge turn on Bryce Young where people were writing him off. And then in the second half, it was like, whoa, like this guy's legit. We can see why he went 1 overall. And it's like Panthers fans have some hope because the future looks bright. I like what they did in the draft, getting him, you know, a top tier wide receiver at number 8. And, you know, ultimately, I do think Carolina can compete in that division because I don't think the Bucs or the Falcons are that much better than them on paper. I think they'll, you know, be competing. But even if they don't, hey, they just got to make it. They could sneak in at that 7 spot.
Wow. And that's only plus 230?
Yeah.
Interesting. That defense is still garbage. So
That's what I was thinking.
Hey, I'm putting a lot of faith in the Bryce Young. I was thinking MVP, but I'm like, I don't know. That's plus 8,000, you know. Maybe we'll just have
Wait
him
till we do their
make the
division
playoffs.
preview.
Ah.
By then you'll be saying it.
By then he'll be
You'll be
my
full
guy.
Kool-Aid zone.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't love it, Reagan. I don't love it. I think the team. I don't think there's gonna be a wild card team out of that division. You know, when you consider the NFC North, the resurgence of the Niners, as you mentioned, the NFC East. Like I think the Cowboys are gonna be much better this year. Commanders, I think, will take a step back, but they're still gonna be legit with Jaden, right? Philly, like I just don't see a wild card team coming out of that division. So I think Carolina's gonna have to win it for you to cash that.
Well, the thing is, it's the schedule for me, to be honest. Like, looking at it, they play the AFC East, which outside of Buffalo, all those games are winnable. You know, they play their own division, which I'd say all those games are winnable. And then on the NFC side, they're playing the NFC West, where, you know, obviously we don't know what Seattle's going to look like this year. You know, San Francisco's probably going to be much better. The Rams are obviously a very good team, but the Cardinals is a winnable game. And then, you know, even their, like, other games, like the Jaguars, like, they could win that. You know, they got the Packers. They could, you know, we'll see how that is. But there's a lot of games on their schedule where I'm like, that's at least winnable. I mean, we saw this team down the stretch competing with the Eagles and the Chiefs. So I'm buying into the second half hype.
Yeah, but now that you mentioned the schedule, it is a bit of a cupcake schedule.
It's a cupcake schedule, and just the way they played down the stretch. Like, I'm buying into the Bryce Young year 3 jump. And, you know, ultimately they made a lot of additions in the offseason and in the draft that I liked.
All right. I like it. My third play. This is my last team play. My next 2 after this are going to be player props. The Baltimore Ravens to have the most regular season wins at plus 650. 12 wins last year. They're consistently a 12-plus win team. They just added Jair Alexander to that secondary after drafting Malachi Starks. I mean, that secondary is disgusting. Their front is good. I wouldn't say it's elite, but it's really good. And their offense, of course, with Lamar and Henry, it's going to be a juggernaut yet again. And I think Kansas City's not going to win 15 this year. I don't think Philly's going to win 14. I don't think Detroit's going to win 15. I think Baltimore can get up to that 14-3 range and take this crown. Plus 650 for a team that's consistently up there in the AFC. And we don't care that Lamar's going to choke in the postseason. This is all regular season.
You really think so?
Yeah.
You really think they're going to win the most games?
I mean, it's plus 650, you know, it's a juicy play, but I think given their history and what they've done with Lamar Jackson and his MVP snub last year, like there's no reason in my mind I don't think they're going to win 12 games.
No, they'll definitely win a lot. I mean, the thing with with Baltimore is they always have a choke game here and there, and then
they do. And their division is brutal.
Their division's and it doesn't matter. Like last year, they even lost to the Browns, and it's like they could literally go 0-2 against the Browns this year and still win 14 games. That's the crazy thing about those division games because it doesn't matter what the teams are. Like throw the records out the window. Any AFC North game is going to be either low scoring and close or a shootout and close.
Yeah.
I think plus 650 is a good line, though.
No,
Yeah,
that is.
They're my pick to win the Super Bowl, so I can't argue that division is tough. But whenever they play other top teams, Baltimore seems to be a team that can just hang with anyone. Like every time they play Buffalo, at least in the regular season, they've kicked their ass. So even the tough teams on their schedule, they don't seem to have duds in their big games. So
yeah, I wish they added a little bit more out wide besides just DeAndre Hopkins, but. Yeah, I mean, we saw last year. They're fine with Henry.
They're going to run
Lamar.
their 2 tight end sets, too.
Yeah, and I love Zay Flowers, too. Zay Flowers was a stud last year when he was healthy. So, all right, pass it back to you, G. Fourth play on the ladder.
On the ladder coming up, Defensive Player of the Year, plus 1,600. I got Mad Maxx Crosby.
I was thinking about
this
doing
is
that.
One that, he hasn't gotten super close before. Last year he got injured. This is a guy I think I'm going to take every year until it hits. Because I love Crosby as a player. I think he does bring the sacks. His numbers haven't been insanely high in the past couple of years, but he's a guy whose tackles for losses have been insanely high. He's always up there with TJ Watt. He also brings a lot of quarterback pressure. So in terms of other stats besides stats, he's always usually way up there. I think their team overall got a lot better. I think he's going to have a lot more favorable matchups. They're not going to be getting blown out all the time where they have to.
Teams should run the ball down their throat, So you think their offense should be better. He should have more opportunities to rush the passer. And to your point, he's always top 5 in pressures in the league. He just doesn't convert a ton of them.
Yeah, and I think with better coaching coming in, I think it's overall just going to help their whole defense. It's a defense that's underperformed, but with Pete Carroll coming in, I think everyone on that defense is going to take a step forward.
Now, what if I were to tell you this next bet would be plus 1,300, and all this guy would have to do is lead all the wide receivers in receiving yards, but he was 3rd last year, and his quarterback is healthy, and he just got a new offensive-minded head coach. What would you guys say about that? Would you like that? Give me Brian Thomas Jr. to lead all wide receivers in receiving yards.
I don't like it, but you'll find out soon why I don't like it.
Oh, I like it. I'm not worried about Travis Hunter at all. If anything, I think it's going to be good for him because he's going to be such a decoy out there, and I think he will play a lot of time on defense. So for those that are like, well, they just got Travis Hunter, I think it's a good thing. It's just going to open up more stuff for him. So, and the fact that Trevor Lawrence is going to be healthy, and the guy didn't even take a step back with Mac Jones. Like, he just dominated all season long, consistently having 100-yard games. So give me Brian Thomas. And I mean, dude, he finished 3rd, and it took him till in his first, he didn't even he only broke 100 yards 1 out of his first 6 games. So a lot of his production came in the second half of the season. So I'm excited for what this man can do.
I mean, Brian Thomas.
But what's your kickback?
Stud. I just don't like it because my next play at plus 750, Nico Collins to lead the league in receiving yards.
No, bro. That's bad.
How is that an ill?
Because of his health and his health alone.
He had 1,300 yards in 2023 in 15 games. Last year, he had 1,000 yards in 12 games. Yes, he did miss games last year. I get the health, but you
have to play 17 games.
How many times have we seen Nico Collins go for a $150 plus? And now,
he's a beast, bro.
No Tank Dell, no Stephon Diggs. They bring in 2 rookies. Stroud had a bit of a sophomore slump. I expect him to get back to more of what we saw his rookie year. I think Nico, of course, got to stay healthy, of course. But he's a big receiver, too. It's mostly been hammies and shit for him. So we need to make sure he's getting those foam rollers in now so he's ready to go for the season. But I think Nico could have 1,800 yards in a fully healthy season with Stroud.
Yeah, I mean, he could. It's just, going off the history, he's never played one full season. In his 4 seasons in the league, he's never once played all 16 or all 17 games.
Yeah, and they said that about Barkley until he ran for 2,000, right?
No,
you know what I mean?
Hey, that's just my kickback. I'm a guy who goes off the trends in the history. I was saying Mike Evans earlier because history shows he consistently does it. So, and history shows this guy's never been able to do it. But if he can stay healthy, I see the vision. But I actually find those odds a little surprising just because you would think with the injured seasons he's had, they would at least be closer to like plus 1,000, if not plus 1,500.
This was also an ESPN bet, which is like the most dog shit odds, like communist odds ever. So like you probably get a better line on FanDuel.
Okay.
Or DraftKings. But like your point, it's probably like +9, maybe plus 1,000, you know?
Mm-hmm.
All right, G. Last one in the ladder.
Last one.
A big one, baby. Come on.
The big one. This is where all the juice comes in. So if y'all are trying to throw a dart throw out there, I got an MVP
Jackson Dart?
dart throw for you. No.
You got to say that now.
No, I got your boy Baker Mayfield at plus 2500.
I thought about that. I thought about it.
Dude, I think in terms of value-wise, like this is right. This is the sweet spot I wanted for an MVP. Last year, because he had amazing stats last year. You look at his stats: 4,500 yards, third in the NFL, 41 touchdowns. Really, what I was loving about it.
Woo.
That was tied for second in the NFL last year. The only thing about him, he got to limit his turnovers. 16 interceptions is way too many, and you're not going to win an MVP throwing that many picks. But I think he's a player that's only gotten better with time. He needed a couple years to develop, and now he's the man in that offense. He's trusted. They clearly trust him a lot because all they've done is build around him since he's gotten there. They bring in a Emeka Egbuka this year in case Chris Godwin starts to have a slow start or starts to regress. You got fresh legs, rookie coming out of Ohio State.
Is he even like guaranteed to start? Godwin, I don't even know if he'll
no, I don't think he is, but you have
I wouldn't
McMillan.
be worried about that because they have
that's what I'm just mean. They already ensured that what could be a flaw. You have McMillan and
McMillan's a dog too, man. He showed a lot of flashes last year, and then they just drafted over and bringing in
I just think he has. You have Bucky Irving, who's coming in the year two. I just think he has all the weapons he needs. Obviously, they lost Liam Cohen, but I don't know if that's necessarily going to slow this team down. I mean, I think for him to get MVP, they'd have to finish as like a top, probably the 1 or 2 seed, maybe as a 3 seed. I think they're going to win their division, so I think he'll have that on lock. But I could easily see the Bucs being like maybe in second place in the NFC this year. They have a solid roster. They're returning they didn't really lose anyone big. I just think if he can keep those touchdown numbers up, maybe add like 1 or 2, 3 on there and limit the turnovers. If they have a great record this year, I don't see why he can't win it.
I like it.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
I really thought about
coordinator in 3 years, so we shall see.
I really thought about one of my picks being him to lead the league in passing yards. I was right there taking it. Baker's my boy, so I love that play.
So my last pick, boys, I got my comeback player of the year. I know I talked about it earlier. I gave a little teaser on it, but it's actually someone that Colin knows pretty well. Daniel Jones.
Oh, DJ!
Player of the year. All the buzz is that he might just win that job outright and be starting right away. And guess what? 2 of the last 3 comeback player of the years have not been guys coming off of serious injuries. They're guys who rejuvenated their career, and you could have made a case for Sam Darnold last year that he should have won it, but obviously Joe Burrow and what he overcame, understandable. But look at Joe Flacco and Geno Smith. Those were guys that everyone wrote off and had huge seasons. So I think Daniel Jones can do it. We saw with Shane Steichen, while Richardson hasn't been able to crack that code, he definitely made Gardner Minshew look really good. Actually, Pro Bowl level good. All right, that might be a little bit of a stretch, but he was a Pro Bowler. Whether he deserved it or not, that's another thing. But at the end of the day, I think it's a fresh setting for Daniel Jones. He showed a lot of flashes at times with the Giants. I mean, he led them to the playoffs in the first year with Brian Dable, but at the end of the day, injuries kind of rattled him, and he just needs a fresh start. And I think the Colts could be that spot. And I even think the Colts are going to be a team that can compete for that division. I feel like everyone's just saying it's going to be Houston, and with how flashy the Jaguars offseason has been, a lot of people are giving them a lot of buzz. I feel like Indy's not getting a lot of hype, and I think if Daniel Jones can lead them to the division title and put up some big numbers, and doesn't even have to be crazy. I mean, how do you not give him the comeback player of the year? And he had his own injury. Wasn't he shut down with a neck injury last year anyway?
That was 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Oh, he just got benched last
year.
He got cut.
Down. Yeah,
got
he had
cut.
the neck injury, then he tore his ACL, then he came back last year, and then he got released when the team was just garbage.
So plus 4,000, I love the value. And actually, I'm looking right now. It's actually already gone down to plus 2,000 between the time I made these notes. I guess it's with all the buzz he's been getting recently because we were going to record this a week ago. So the odds have already been cut in half. But I still like it at plus 2,000. That's still great value. But plus 4,000.
They're basically saying he's almost a lock to start week 1 now. That's it's been becoming his job to lose. I also just love the weapons the Colts have. This might be the best offense he's played in. I know the Giants have had some okay offenses around him, but he's got everything.
Good offensive line.
They have a
Tyler
line.
Warren, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman. I think that's another guy too.
Josh Downs.
Yeah,
dude. I don't know. The Colts won. How many games did they win last year? 9. They had a decent record last year.
Yeah, Steichen's a great coach.
7 or 8.
Their defense was garbage too.
Yeah, that's the problem. But
I think we'll get more out of Jones than Richardson.
Wow. I mean, I love it, man. I just saw my boy DJ in the city like a month ago, just on the street. So that was
yeah. What were you guys talking about?
No, just chopping it up, Just
keep that off pod.
Yeah, we keep it off pod. But yeah, it was cool seeing DJ. Wished him luck. Me and Drock wished him luck in Indy. And I mean, to your guys' point, I think he definitely starts week 1. Like, they've made it known, like, whoever's the most reliable guy is going to get the job. And Richardson's been anything but reliable. He's always hurt. He's very inaccurate. But, God damn it, when he has a good day, he'll light up the fantasy scoreboard, But I agree with you guys. I think Jones is going to start week 1. And as long as they win games and he takes care of the football, the job is his to lose.
No, absolutely.
All right. Well, it looks like Reagan's just completely gone at this point. So I'm glad he got out what he had to say.
Yep, he got it all out.
There we go.
There he goes. He's back. All right. I'll wrap up my final play here to finish the ladder.
Let's go.
Plus 1,100. Bijan Robinson to lead the league in rushing. I've been on the Bijan train since he was at Texas. I love the guy. He ran for 1,456 yards last year with 304 carries, which is 90 more carries than what he received in 2023 under Arthur Smith. So with Zach Robinson coming from the McVay tree, they always have a workhorse back. I think they're going to lean even more into Bijan this year. You add Penix, so the offense should be more dynamic, which opens up more for Bijan. My biggest threat here in my mind is Derrick Henry. Barkley just ran for 2,000 yards and then led them to a Super Bowl. He just played 21 games last year. There's no way in my mind he's going to eclipse 2,000 again. I think he's going to regress. I wouldn't be shocked if he has some injuries. Jahmyr Gibbs just splits too much with Montgomery. Jonathan Taylor's always a threat, but he has his injury concerns as well. Bijan's as durable as it gets. He's played 17 games his first 2 full seasons in the league. You're going to give me over plus 1,000 odds on Bijan Robinson, who I think is a top 3 back in this league. And that offense behind that great offensive line, I'll take that all day.
Yeah, I like that. I'm sorry, what were the odds on that again?
Plus 1,100.
That's actually, that's not bad at all.
He doesn't have as much tread on his tires as these other guys you mentioned. Like, they haven't been running into the dirt his first 2 years. And this year, if they really let him be the bell cow, I know Algier's going to get his, but that doesn't really hurt him.
Yeah, 304 carries last year. I think he gets more. I think he get up to like 320, 325. He also had 14 touchdowns last year, which I didn't realize he had that many on the ground.
Yeah, that is a lot. Wow, I didn't realize that shit.
Yeah,
you take
Bijan's a stud, dude.
Bijan sounds like 101. Sounds like Colin's 101 pick.
101, is that your guy this year?
Honestly, if I had 101, I'm doing one redraft league this year. Like, I'm just doing one for work, and that's it. If I get the first pick, I'd probably go Jamar Chase 1 and then Bijan 2, to be honest with you.
What about your underdog leagues, though?
Or Jefferson, maybe. Well, yeah, that's the thing. I'm going to do so many underdog leagues.
So
or
you're
Jefferson,
still doing redraft.
Yeah, because underdog is, redraft. But I don't know. I also love going running back early because it's just more difficult to find them down the board. Like, you can find receivers like, I don't know, like a Brian Thomas in round 3. Like, you could find them farther down the board. I love loading up on running backs early. So, I mean,
so you're saying you get Brian Thomas and Bijan, maybe get Daniel Jones, have all these
Brian Thomas is going early.
Yeah,
I think Brian Thomas.
I'm pretty in ADP leagues.
Colin, I'm pretty sure Brian Thomas is slated to be a first rounder.
Is he really?
Yeah, he is.
I haven't looked at
Yeah.
any redraft boards.
Him and
He's like,
Neighbors
give me a
are like
first rounder.
already first rounders. Yeah.
I mean, dude, he was third in receiving yards last year.
I mean,
And you gotta
yeah, I
think
get
he's
it.
only going to get better.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I get it. You do typically see like after a receiver has, I mean, I knew Neighbors was like going to be up there too. Like typically after you have a young receiver that pops off like his first year, they just skyrocket up the board. You know, I mean, Marv was like a fucking first round pick last year as a rookie. That was so unwarranted. But like when you have a year under your belt, like BT and Neighbors, like you can bank on that. But yeah, Bijan plus 1,100, boys.
Yeah,
Lead the
for
league in
sure.
rushing. I love it. All right, guys, that wraps us up. Any
Well, let's
last
see
words
it.
from the fellas?
I want, whoever's listening, drop a comment with the future you're like. We always love hearing other futures as well. So let us know what we're missing out on.
Yeah, big gambler over here. So let me know, man. I love to sprinkle on some futures, sweat them out the full season. Like, subscribe. You know, we appreciate you guys tuning in. It's good to be back. Around the Felt's back. We're coming back with our season prediction pods very shortly. We'll be back in full swing. Appreciate you tuning in. We'll catch you soon on Around the Felt.
Peace.